Um, I want to explain firstly the name of our project. So it is Villaged Island. Actually, it's placed on the island. We already know that, and we know that as island, as our project is offering place for everyone. Like it's not often if you're a student or you're a small family or you came there just for one semester, you can find a place there. And also there is a lot of functions and places for works. So that's why it's like place for everyone. Yeah, Elsa?
Okay. Yeah. So to get into the topic, I will explain our main parts from the analysis. So Yogyakarta is located in central Java. And in the location map, you can see this central character of Yogyakarta in the region. So the side streets are not so clearly structured, but you really get the feeling of the importance of the city in the regions. Yeah, also to mention is that on the north of Yogyakarta is the Merapi Volcano, an active volcano, and in the south, the region is bordered by the Indian Ocean. So the city is in an area that is quite in motion. Yeah. So you have this very active environment, and but you can also notice that the nature is very much excluded from the city. So the green space is mainly located outside the rings. So for us, one of our main parts from the analysis to develop a concept was to integrate as much space as possible on the building side, because there is this lack of green areas. And our basic idea was to integrate the topic of sustainable urban development. And this green space can be used as, or should be used as a public area, but should also be integrated private green space for the residents. Another point from the analysis was Yogyakarta, a student city with its many educational institutions. And here our idea was to merge the individual institutions across the city on our building site. So to somehow create educational center where students can live, study, work together, and yet to promote the exchange of communication between the students. So one step closer to the construction side. As we analyzed also the surrounding factors, and so the building site is delimited on 3 sides by streets, river, and the existing buildings, and this kind of leads to different entrance options, and the main entrance are on the north and on the south side. So the buildings directly next to our project sites, are mainly public buildings. In the south side, there is kind of a mixed structure, and on the east side, there are more private buildings. Another point to consider is the volume. So the surrounding streets are very busy roads, and there are also the railway tracks in the north. But there's also kind of a buffer zone on the east side, so that the river. So the east side is a kind of a quiet zone, and the west side is more louder. So our first step to develop our concept was to create kind of a orientation grid with a basic model of 55 square meters. And we also wanted to break through the grid. So we kind of connected the main entrances. So we get these zones, and they're differentiated into more public buildings, mixed buildings, and more private buildings. It's the map down. Yeah. Yeah, and on the last map you can see our building structure and these green zones that we integrated, and they are also breaking through our grid and create like a park and green areas. Yeah.
Sorry, one moment.
So on the left side, you can see we made 4 axonometries. And on the first one, it is all about terraces and about our building site. So you can see that actually we planned a car-free building site. That's why we also have 3 parking spaces, big parking spaces on the different parts of our plot. And all the terraces on the first diagram are marked in red. So you can see that actually each house is staying on his own terrace, or there is also some houses which are sharing one terrace. That's why some terraces are public areas, as the buildings which are staying on them are also public, like for example, library. And some terraces are semi-public spaces, as they're like a shared spaces for a few living houses. And yeah, you can also see on the right side that there is some buffer zone of our building site. It is a river, and we also made there like a seating steps, so people can also spend time there. And we also planned behind the stairs some green spaces, so it is also a shadow space, so people can really stay there also the sunny times. So to the second one, it is actually about the buildings. So all the buildings are marked here. The darker ones, they are public spaces, public buildings, and those one which are in pink, they are living spaces. You can also see that there is some bigger free areas. Actually, they're sport areas or playgrounds. Yeah, to the third one, it is about the green space.
Sorry.
So the third one is about a green space. Our green space is, as Elsa already told you, it is also a part of our sustainable concept, as we made a lot of green spaces, and it was also thought like a shadow for buildings, so they're not going to be that hot. And we also used some of green spaces as the buffer zone. You can see that on the right diagram with a parking space. And the last diagram, you can see our connection. So as Elsa already told you, we made our project actually in the grid, but then we thought it would be great if we could break their grid, and that's why we made our free spaces, our green spaces, in these kind of forms. And also our waves are not in the grid. That's our way to break the grid and to make each part of our building sites different. You can also see that here we made some bike rental points on the different ends of our building sites, so the people who the visitors, they can also rent a bike to move inside of our building site. And up also in the south point of our building site, it is public, it is open, it is like a connection to the train station, to the bus station over there. Yeah, we can change to the right side of our layout. So here you can see a lot of different functions which are offering in our building site. There is some info points which are close to the parking space. All the buildings in red, they're for living.
Sorry.
There are also different types for living houses, but Anna will tell you more about that. We also have a lot of different options for the students. There is a libraries, there are learning rooms, co-working space, and also some outdoor sport opportunities, and even one fitness studio. We also played some restaurants. They are in yellow, and they are like above and also on the north part of our building site. So also the people who are not living in the building site can also use them. So we can switch to the next one.
Could you,
Here
excuse me, could you zoom in a little bit
Where?
to the lower part where you, yeah,
functions.
here.
Mm-hmm.
You have info point, shops, library, sport court, shared space, restaurant, cafe, working space, fitness, exhibition, services. Okay, and business. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So to the next one, here you can also see how we adapt our building sites to the other parts of the city. So you can see our buildings are not bigger than other ones, and also in the north part there is a lot of small buildings. That's why in our building site there are also smaller buildings there. So it is like a connection. You can also see, Anna, could you please zoom in on the right side so I can show you a bit more of highs. As we used a lot of different highs, you can see on the first taxonometry with the library that the building there is really high. It has just 3 floors, but for our building site it's high. And we have a few of the public spaces which are this high. Our living houses are usually from 1 to 3 floors, but Anna will tell you more about that. You can also see here a small taxonometry to the entrance area to the park. It is entrance area which I already told you from the north, which is connecting to the train station, also a bus station above. So we tried to make it like open and really attractive to the people, to the visitors. Yeah, here you can also see that the part where our living housings are, their early density. Anna, could you please like put it a bit down? Yeah, because it is this diagram on the right side. So you can see here a density for a living part, and also a lot of free spaces between. Yeah. And on the down part, you can see our cuts. You can also see here that we used to use a different building heights, but we also made some buildings higher because they're close to the free space, and those which are in the density areas of our building site, they're not that high as others. Yeah, to the next one, please.
Okay, so now I'm going to tell you something more detailed about our housing situation. So we started with some analysis around Yogyakarta, like regions around it. And we took some references. So these are the regions, for example, like you can see that here on top, Spantul and Steeman and so on. And so we took the Choglo and the Limassol as references for our housing. So we kind of analyzed the floor plans and the traditional housing in Indonesia, which we found quite interesting, as all of them have like terraces on the outside, which they are using a lot. They have a central space like integrated within their floor plans, and several rooms like in the back. This on top, this is a location map which shows our our center within the site, where the main paths across each other. So yeah, so something more detailed about the housing. This is on one of the main paths as well, so you can see some different variations of our housing, which consists here of some, like, the housing is based on these shared terraces, which we wanted to integrate from the typical housing, which have these terraces kind of like a buffer zone outside, but we wanted to implement it as more of a functional way today. So we created like shared terraces on the outside. They can be shared by the residents, and to create kind of a community together. On the right, you can see our different housing variations. So we have different types. Type A is a single apartment, so it's perfect for one person to live in. Then we have another type A, which can be used for a single person or a couple, for example, which is a 2-floor apartment. Yeah, type B is a 1-floor apartment as well, which can be for a family or for 2 to 3 people in general. Yeah, then we have different community rooms. There are in between these terraces. For example, here you can see it on the right. So we have 5 different types or housing situations with one community room, which can be used by everyone living there, and which includes like kitchen or space for studying. So type C for living is a 2-floor apartment for a family or 3 to 4 people, and a type C, which is the same variation of this type, but for example, for 4 people, because it has more rooms on the 2nd floor. So here you can see some sections within this area of our different housings. Whoops, sorry, it doesn't work right now. Yeah. So with our choice of material, we wanted to concentrate a little bit on sustainable materials, because this was within our whole analysis, and within the project this was kind of an important thing for us. So we decided to implement to a lot of wood, like we decided for a wooden facade, as well as a wooden construction for our roof, and the roof is constructed out of tiles or clay tiles. This is, for example, this shows one of the housing with 3 floors, but 2 housing units, which is one 2-floor apartment and one 1-floor apartment, with a balcony on top and a shared terrace, which consists out of stone. So in these scenarios, in the first, you can see one of these situations where the houses come together on a shared terrace, so they have kind of an outside living space, I would say, and some different scenarios from one of the main paths where, yeah, from the free spaces and where you can see our green spaces as well. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ikaputra, what do you think about this project?
Same. The architecture development, especially regarding the response to tropical architecture. But I think the approach is already looking at the local culture. And what is this interesting, beside that one I comment in the architecture aspect, this project is very complete to understand the locality. Looking at first for the figure ground. The figure ground showing to us that there is a variety of the block of the houses, so that we can understand that it's really have a characteristic of kampung figure ground. So they have a small, there are a big one, but they put it into the kampung-like morphology of the area. This is the thing I really have understand that the group trying to see what the connection to the kampung. This is for the meso scale of the approach. The block itself, the house itself has actually there are three good concepts. One is understanding the terrace as a concept of really Javanese, of really Indonesian one, the terrace. So the terrace as a public connection between private space and common people is one of the good thing, and as a sitting area as well. But when you going into the form of the roof, which is I think very important to you, you have already put it a very nice understanding on the roof and also the plan concept of Javanese architecture. Especially, actually, you have to put kampung style rather than Joglo style, because kampung usually have a kampung style or limasan style. But when you looking at in the performance, I mean, how the flat roof, especially very I call not friendly with the tropical architecture, but the way you put how make variety, how the flexibility on the concept, I think that is the ideas of the kampung, from the block plan into the plan itself on a house plan, and also still keeping the terrace. But again, my question is, we should understand more on how the terrace having a roof, how the building have a roof which is friendly with the tropical weather. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ikaputra. But I think your roofs are not flat.
No, they're not flat. They're pent roofs.
Yeah, but they are not so, they are small. They is not so long.
I think I would
Have,
explain that. When Anna, could you please zoom in the last picture here? Because a lot of the terraces, as also you can see that on the last or on the picture above it, they have more houses, and they have also the stairs between, which are protecting the shadow, like you can see on these two pictures on the right side.
Yeah,
like
I like the idea of the terrace. This terrace itself is one of the local culture that make them have a social connections, that as you mentioned, and I really like what you have there, and maybe the ideas of the new terrace concept can be developed from this, because the modern is okay. The concept of more than one floor is okay, but the way you are working on that, maybe it can be improved on only that one terrace, and also climate change. I mean, climate response. But I think whole one, this is just comment for a small thing, but all thing is to create work with your partner of Gajah Mada, because I feel a lot on locality on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anna, Eugenia, what I miss when I see your floor plan, you didn't show us it with the truss, yeah? When I see your floor plan,
Oops, sorry.
see here the truss, yeah? I think it would be very nice when you have a truss that you also draw it and also give some function to the truss.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 to 200, you see all the truss, all the things.
Yeah.
But in 100,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because we wanted to show the types themselves.
Yeah.
But yes, we understand.
yeah. So we see you have a truss and you can use it.
Yeah, maybe that's missing.
It is
There
also
is-
that not every type A, for example, have their own terrace. Like that, like
Yeah.
I mean, that the different types of the houses, they can be on the shared terraces, or they can be on the private terraces.
Yeah, that's it.
Of
Yeah,
Because as you can see here, this is like the same type as this one. So this one has is on a shared terrace. This one has a terrace by itself. So it's kind of changes.
Yeah, that's why we made like two parts, like this part where we're showing this part of the city of our building site with all floor plans with all variations, and then like on the right side just the types.
Yeah, and I understand, but in your place I will take the one is much beautiful, and I will draw that with the truss and everything, and say, okay,
Yeah, sure.
nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
But we can do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
And now, what do you think about that? About the project?
Okay. Thank you for the project from the group 4. I think it's very nice with the emphasis on the green spaces. I think if we look at the characteristic of the informal settlement in a kampung, I think we can improve the design into the productive green spaces, or even communal productive green spaces, because the social interaction in the kampung is really strong. So we can, I think it's kind of a potential thing to do the communal productive green spaces. And also it can be emphasized the design on terraces, because terraces is also a part of the space who can become a communal productive green spaces. I think it will be a good proposal if we can also combine it with the characteristic of the people in a kampung as an informal sector worker who always use everything to improve their activity and also their economic activity. Okay, I think that's for group 4.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Dia, what do you think?
Yeah, such an interesting idea for exploration of Javanese houses for generating design, but actually that's a typology of more complex houses. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like nobility houses are not common kampung houses, but it's okay. You can adopt the principles of design such as terraces. It's good. And overall, you have very good and comprehensive drawing for analysis and design concept, as well as functional program. All of I think it's very easy to understand. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, dear. Thank you.